And we're live. All right, hey, everybody, welcome. This is probably our most requested topic that we cover. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Jake Samp. I'm one of the director of education, day-to-day operations for the Cornbelt Umpires Association. Joining me is Connor Singheisen, who helps with a lot of the education stuff. Is a board member and does a lot of stuff to help with the education of umpires. He's also district umpire in chief. Connor, which district are you the umpire in chief of? Forget.
10B, I believe is what it's called now. It changed this year.
10B. Oh, don't you love when they change it? All right. And also joining us is Larry Gallagher, longtime umpire, baseball. I mean, if there's a PhD in baseball, this guy would have multiple PhDs. Very knowledgeable. He is a clinician with the Minnesota State High School League, as well as the Northwest Association of Umpires out of the Twin Cities. As you all are aware, this is a very informal presentation, but please do feel free to jump in and ask questions if you should have them. We want to make sure that all questions get answered. So I will get rocking and rolling here. If you do have a question, but you don't feel the need to interrupt the presentation, please do feel free to use the chat window. Connor will be monitoring the chat window for today. So just a little bit on two umpire philosophy. The two umpire system is truly the basic set of mechanics for all umpiring. The 3 and 4 umpire systems do build on the two umpire systems in that if you have an umpire and the 3 umpire system go out, basically we all revert back to 2 umpire mechanics. 4 umpire, if a 4th umpire, if one of the umpires goes out in the 4 umpire system, you revert back to 3-man. Having a very good fundamental knowledge of the 2 umpire system is very important for all umpires. We're going to talk a lot about angle and distance because the 2 umpire system is by far the most difficult umpire system that there is. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and we're not going to get into block concentrations or a lot of those types of things. We're really going to stick to the basic mechanics, rotations, and things of that nature. But angle over distance will be a concept that will be weaved in and out throughout this entire presentation. Connor, any thoughts on 2 umpire philosophy?
Be where you need to be to make the call. Don't worry about whose call it is necessarily, and get them all right.
Fantastic. All right. So the mechanics that are provided by various umpires associations are not always the most up to date. I know there's some associations out there that are running with mechanics that are 20 years old and they're out of date. And the purpose for this is to get everybody all on the same page as to what the current mechanics are. So the book that we're going to be discussing is the CCA, or the Collegiate Commissioners Association 2 umpire system. It is the 2 umpire system for the NCAA, and it is nearly identical with only a few minor changes to the MILB, or the old PBUC system. But the CCA book, I feel, is very user-friendly, easy to understand, and does a thorough job of explaining what it is we do. And Connor, Larry, and I can kind of give you the whys here and there. So
It
first and
it al-
foremost,
it also mirrors the NFHS book as well. So I know South Dakota does not send out an NFHS mechanics manual or anything like that, but it is very, very similar to the NFHS mechanic, and it is far and above beyond the best system to work because it accounts for a lot of different issues that come up that other places don't.
So we're gonna, for this presentation, we're gonna just take us back to the bare bones of what umpiring is about. So nobody on, this is pretty simple, but basically take and draw a line between the home plate, second base, and center field, and on any fly ball, pause, read, react. See what the fielders are going to do. The fielders will always take you to the ball. So on a fly ball, you don't want to hit, or you don't want to look at the ball, because the fielders will take you to the ball. If the center fielder breaks to right field, back to the fence, or in, that would fall under the base umpire or U1's coverage area. If the center fielder breaks to left field, that would fall under the plate umpire's coverage area. Only a couple times that base umpire should go out. The ball is hitting his coverage area that threatens the fence, threatens fair foul. You have two fielders converging on a ball, or a ball that will be caught at or below the waist. And that is not routine. Would require a base umpire to go out. Infield catch, no catch. This was actually updated. So for the college guys that are sitting in here today, this is one of the few two umpire mechanic changes that we have with the 2021 book. It previously, if I remember correctly, it used to be the first base, a ball that was hit to the first baseman, where the first baseman moved towards home plate would always be the plate umpire's call. If it's hit directly at the first base, and that would fall under U1. But if U1 has to come in a little bit, that would fall under the plate umpire. The purpose of, I guess the theory behind this catch no catch pattern is basically putting the umpire that's going to have the best view of a play as the calling umpire. Kind of anything else to add on catch no catch? Or any questions on this?
The real important thing with catch no catch is that both umpires should have an opinion on the play, especially in the infield. We'll talk about outfield when we get there, but the ball is the most important thing. We should have an opinion on whether the ball is caught or not, and we can really quickly communicate with each other who wants to take it if you're not certain. It doesn't do, it's perfectly fine, and I do it often where I'll glance at my partner and see if they have information quickly, and then I'll make my call. Odds are I have a pretty good indication of what happened, but if I'm not 100% sure, I may look to see if my partner has any help for me on that play. And these are more the diving ones that I'm talking about, or the short hops. Be slow, be patient, because a catch is a catch is a catch is a catch. It doesn't matter when you signal it's a catch. All that has to do with anything is what did the runner do when the ball touched the glove of the fielder, and did they catch it or not? We can be really slow with these plays, and I would advise you to take your time and let your brain process what happened and look at how the fielders react to it, and that gives you a pretty good indication.
Yeah, absolutely. Read the fielders, see what they do. Go ahead, Larry.
I'd like to say this. Again, pre-game this, even if you have been with this partner more than a few times. There are extenuating circumstances based upon physical ability of partners. So who can get the best look is part of your pregame. Follow this as your standard, but all mechanics are based upon the abilities of the umpires working that game.
Do you have any questions on catch, no catch philosophy, no runners on base? Yes, the one thing that I will add on any boundary plays where we have a potential catch by a fielder that would threaten to go into would go out of play. You know, if we have no runners on, you know, what I usually do is if I'm the base umpire, I'm going to get over to the fence, as well as, and if I'm working as a plate umpire as well, I won't get over to the fence, but I'll get pretty close to the fence. And then basically whoever's got the open glove is going to make that call. But, you know, that's definitely something to pregame. But that would only apply on runner with no runners on. That change with depending on your runner situation. Fair foul coverage. Well, this is pretty routine. I think everybody knows kind of what fair foul coverage is. The one thing that I would add and emphasize that this should be something to pregame on is, do you go by the base? Otherwise, I know some guys they'll work and they'll say that the cut of the grass right here, and they'll actually just run it up to the cut of the grass like that, just because that's a little bit easier way to define where a ball's at in relation to fair foul responsibility. So pop that away.
Again, there's a thing on that. Remember, sometimes that ball is hit pretty hard and the first base umpire is bailing to get out of the way. If he steps fair, is what you really want to do as a base umpire. Go fair when that ball is coming at you instead of go foul. If you go foul, though, you're not going to have a good look at it. So sometimes the plate umpire is going to have to pick that one up past first base. Depending on again,
plate umpire should always be ready to help. Plays within the infield. For those of you that attended our very first presentation where we discussed I believe we did the runner's lane. This should be pretty routine and already you know, in your umpiring toolkit, so to say. Any ball that's hit within the infield, plate umpire should clear the catcher to the left and work their way up the first base line. The first reason that we're going to clear to the left, and I guess the main reason, is just so we don't run into the catcher, because the catcher is going to be going up the line like this, and so we want to clear out and go there. Couple other thoughts on this play here. Realistically, getting to the 45-foot line, especially at the higher levels, is a goal. It's not an expectation. So the big key with this play here is being stopped and set before the ball is thrown, with the plate umpire straddling the line. I will say that a lot of the times I'm getting to about right here. But that's getting me to a point where I'm as close to first base as I can, and I'm still stopped, I'm set, and I'm straddling the line, and I'm in position. The only other thing to talk about on this play, I guess, would be an overthrow. Don't know if I have another play on that or play pick on that. But if we have another overthrow, the base umpire is going to be coming in here to pivot. And then the plate umpire would basically just take a couple steps, go in this direction here, and then rule on any boundary calls if the ball is in play or if it's out of play.
So on these plays, it's really important, like Jake said, clearly catcher, get up the line, angle over distance, be on the line to see the first baseman moving off the bag to catch that ball and be ready to help. As the base umpire or U1, I typically use a 2-4-6 philosophy for getting in position towards the person fielding the ball. A ball hit to the second baseman, I'm going to take 2 steps towards the second baseman and create that 90-degree angle between the fielder, the base, and myself. Sometimes if that ball's hit deep in the hole, instead of moving in and towards second base, I'm going to move in and towards the outfield because I want to avoid getting in the way of the fielder making that throw. On a ball hit to the shortstop, I'm going to take 4 steps at the shortstop fielding the ball. Ball to the third baseman, I'm taking 6. Trying to create that angle, be ready to make a read step if that throw is bad. And it's something that it takes a lot of time, and I'm still not great at it. But reading a true throw versus a bad throw and making a position adjustment based on that, where you think you need to go to have the best look at that play. Timing is really important on force plays. And a lot of times we get too amped up about a close call, and we are calling that play before it finishes. We should read the play, look for the batter runner to touch first, listen for the ball hitting the glove, let the play finish, replay it, and then make a call. And it's really important that we slow everything down and process it, because if we're too fast, we miss something, we miss a part of that play, and then we come up with the wrong call. So slow down, let the play finish, then make a decision. If you think your timing is good, slow it down even more. But we want to make sure that the play finishes before we decide safe or out.
One of the good things you can do is wait until the receiver of the throw at first base takes the ball out of his glove before you make your decision. The second thing is, can we go back to the plate umpire moment? As an observer, I notice on balls hit to the left side especially, the plate umpire starts focusing on the play at first before the ball is thrown. I advise you to watch the release of the throw, not just for this play, but for all plays, because there isn't going to be a play without the ball. So there's no need to be watching the play at first until there is going to be a play at first. Make sure you see the ball released, and it is especially true when you're in position B or C. There's a chance of getting hit with that throw if you're taking your eye off the fielder making the throw.
All very good points. Any questions here on the plays within the infield as far as, base umpire mechanics, plate umpire mechanics? Hearing none. Here's our overthrow play here. So, as we had discussed previously, U1 comes in, gets their 45-degree angle or its equivalent. Plate umpires coming up the line, and then we'll move foul to take any play that may go out of play. One big thing to note, and this is getting into the finer points of umpiring, but if you have a ball go out of play or a batter that's hit by a pitch, the proper mechanic is to say time. as opposed to saying dead ball. There's an old umpire camp joke: a ball is not living, so it can't die. So it's time. And if you want to get real technical, the rule book states, or if you go to the rule, it says when time is called. So that's just small little piece of verbiage advice there. I would recommend everybody get rid of the quote dead verbal mechanic and change that with time. Clean hit to the outfield, pretty routine. Base umpire comes in, gets their pivot, and then the one thing that I do see quite frequently that that doesn't happen is this right here. Let me draw it right here. Is this movement coming back in? That's an important step. It's done, and the purpose of it is to make sure that we have the best possible angle in case we decide to have a throw here going this way, and now we got to play on the batter runner right here. If the base umpire is right here, we're looking at a lot of back and elbow. And you're not really in a great position, but if you're here, I'll draw the field of vision right here. That's your field of vision, and you're right there on the play.
And this is on throws back into first after the batter runner rounds the base. When they try to throw behind
Correct.
the runner, we need to make sure that we get an angle to read that play.
Once you know the throw's coming into the infield and the runner has not advanced towards second base, he's stopping and he's now reading the play. That's when you're starting to make that cross step back toward the cutout.
All good stuff. Any questions here on this? Hearing none. Clean hit to the outfield. That's extra bases. This is pretty much the same that everybody's been taught since day one. Not a whole lot of change or anything like that. Just make sure everybody knows who's got what. One thing that I've seen frequently, and thankfully it's becoming less and less frequent, is seeing the plate umpire rotate up to take this play at third. That's the base umpire's call all day. I've seen some crazy mechanics where like the base umpire, as soon as the batter runner commits, so about right here, the base umpire would cut and go home while the plate umpire comes up here. That's a lot of extra work. And it's also, it's not correct. The base umpire is going to take the batter runner all the way to third base on that play.
It's an old softball mechanic for Federation. And I don't know if they're still doing it or not. They don't have a mound to worry about anyway, but just have the base umpire take this play all the time.
A little bit of going out mechanics here. We got a fly ball down the right field line, so we have the fielder converging on a foul line, so we have fair foul being threatened, and this would be deemed a trouble ball. So U1 goes out. One of the big keys with going out is making sure you have clear communication. Typically, my communication is my right hand going up, pointing in the air. I'm going out with a verbal mechanic. The other thing that I also, when I'm pre-gaming, if I'm working in a bigger venue or something like that, where communication might be a little bit, where verbal communication may be more challenging, I will always tell my plate umpire that, hey, if you see my shoulders turn, I'm going out. And the big thing with going out, if you're a base umpire and you go out, go out. Don't don't take 2 or 3 steps out, turn, read the play, and come into the infield. Go out as far as you can, get set for the play. The plate umpire here, we got the clear the catcher to the left. And we're going up this way here. The reason that they put that there is basically just to make sure that the plate umpire is observing the touch of the batter runner at first base. You don't necessarily have to get there. The key point is to make sure that we're watching the touch at first. Then the plate umpire would have any play on the batter runner at second. And then if we end up having a play here at third, come in here, and I would probably want to take that play, if possible, about right here, because that's going to give you your best look. The rule of thumb with going out is if you go out, stay out. And if we ever do a clinic on 3 umpire, 4 umpire mechanics, you're going to hear that a lot. In 2 umpire mechanics, if you go out, the only responsibility after catch, no catch, and fair foul that the base umpire has would be rotating back home for a play at the plate. And as a reminder, for 4 criteria to go out, or what we like to call trouble balls, ball that's going to be caught at or below the waist, fair foul is threatened. You have 2 players converging on each other. Me personally, I typically try to loop that one into a ball being caught at or below the waist, because if it's a routine catch, I'm not going to go out. And that comes with reading the players as opposed to reading the ball. If I have both the center fielder and the right fielder, converging on each other, but neither of them are really at a sprint, and it looks like the right fielder is going to be camped under that ball, or the center fielder, I'm probably going to come in and let my partner take that catch, no catch, because that's a routine ball. And then the only other one would be the boundary fence is threatened, which in this case would be a home run.
2 things on this. Number 1, pop-up means pivot. Hi, can of corn in fair territory. You're the base umpire, pivot. Number 2, verbal communication is a must. We get too caught up in, we're going to confuse the fielders. If I'm the plate umpire and Jake's my U1 and he's kind of wishy-washy, or I think he needs to go out, I'm going to yell at him, Jake, go, go. Same thing if I'm U1. I'm not going to be like, just hold my hand up in the air. Sorry, I turned my video off because I'm eating lunch. I'm not going to be like, I'm going out. I'm going to yell. I want my partner to know. I want everybody to know, hey, I got this ball. A, my partner knows then what they need to do. And B, the coach goes, hey, they're talking to each other. They're working hard. They're communicating. I'm going to question them less because I know they're working. I hear them working. And then it makes it a lot easier to explain situations to coaches. And they gain a little bit more trust when they hear that you're communicating to your partner.
Absolutely. That's a great point. The only thing that I will add with the communication side of this is plate umpire should quarterback this play, theoretically. Give your base umpire the opportunity to go out. And if it's a routine ball, if there's a fly ball that's hit and I'm working with Connor, as I'm coming out from behind the plate after I clear the catcher to the left, I'll say, hey, I'm on ball. Just to let Connor know that I'm going to take that catch, no catch, and that he can come in. Because I will likely have a wider field of view, and I can see that, hey, that's going to be a routine catch. And that's not something that, warrants, Connor, going out to the outfield as fast as he can, and doesn't warrant me going all the way up to second base to take a potential play there. So, communicate. I'm on ball. I'm going out. Verbal communication is huge with this type of play.
Another thing, if the base umpire does go out and says he's going out, there's a response needed by the plate umpire. I've got the runner then. That's what they teach at umpires.
Great point. That's a great point, Larry. Fly ball, U1 goes out. This is exactly what we were talking about a couple minutes ago with the only responsibility of U1 after the catch, no catch would be to come back to the plate. And just notice, we have the touch responsibility marked by the dot coming out of or close to the first baseline. And then we're taking the play right about at the cut of the grass on the plate umpire. Plate umpire should always be aware of where the baseball is at all times on this play. The worst feeling ever is having a baseball come up from behind you and not knowing where it's at.
Notice where you had that last movement of the plate umpire. As he's coming to that near the cutout at third base, he's got to be aware of where the ball is. So he's got to be seeing it over his shoulder. So he might even drop down lower toward the baseline part of the cutout so that he can see that open up a little bit more to the ball.
Because in reality, and Larry's exactly right, baseball common sense and baseball knowledge says that this is not going to be a throw like this. There's going to be a cutoff player about right there. So typically one thing I will do is I will pivot and I will open up and I will kind of do a little bit of a back pedal where I can at least see where the ball is coming from to make sure that I don't need to duck down any lower. We've hit a lot of the various fly ball mechanics through the last couple slides. This is that routine catch. So I'm working with Connor. We got a routine ball. Connor has read this as a routine ball. The way that Connor, as my base umpire, would tell me that he thinks this is a routine ball is he breaks into the infield. I'm coming out from behind the plate. Hey, I'm on ball. I got ball. Loud enough for him to hear it. And I wouldn't worry about players getting confused by it because at the end of the day, umpires have to communicate. We still have to do our job. And so I'm going to talk to Connor. Hey, I'm on ball. And then be in position about the pitcher's mount. That's a great spot to have a good look at a routine, what some coaches would refer to as a can of corn catch. Fly ball to left field, no catch. Pretty similar. So this is a fly ball that's in the plate umpire's area only.
On that previous play.
Yeah. Do you want me to go back so you can talk? I'll go back to that one quick here. So Connor put in the chat that this is where the pop-up means pivot. So what we're referring to here, and this is something that for me, I've had to really get used to this. If we have a pop-up, so we got F3 playing about right here.
Jake.
Yeah.
Can corner to the outfield is a pop-up.
Oh.
It's a pop fly, right? Not an infield pop-up, but a pop fly. Can of corn, easy catch, no need to go out on it. If you read it as a pop fly, a high fly ball, pivot. Because a lot of times we misread balls because we don't take time to look at fielders location pre-pitch, the trajectory of the ball. High fly ball to the outfield, not getting out of the park. I'm going to pivot because that makes my plate umpire knows, hey, that's a pop fly. Connor's going to pivot. I don't need to haul up the line to read that play at first and go to second. I'm not, because Connor's not going
out. Fly ball to the left field, no catch. Same concept, I was talking about. We got the fly ball to the plate umpire's primary area. Just get out enough to read the play. Read the play as best you can. Do not expect your partner to go out on this play to cover for you. You just have to do your best to get up and get into a position that you can see the play to make the call. As with the clean hit to the outfield, the base umpire is going to have the batter runner all the way to third base, with the plate umpire coming back home to take any potential plays at the plate. Cool. So that's mechanics with no runners on base. So now we're going to start with runners on first base only. So your initial outfield coverages for fly balls, I'll make it real simple. If either the right or left fielder break toward the foul line, it's the plate umpire's ball. We'd have a threat of fair foul, and as you'll see on likely the next slide, plate umpire has got fair foul on both lines. The base umpire is in what we like to call the B position, and you'll hear us refer to the B position or the B side of the field frequently. We typically refer to the U1 coverage area as the wedge. Some guys will call it the V, but it's all the same thing. So anytime we have the right or left fielder coming in, back, or to center, that would be the base umpire's call. Infield catch coverage, similar concept with the base umpire, or with no runners on. It's going to be who's in the best position to see the catch. Connor was talking a lot with the no runners on, catch, no catch on a play within the infield. Working with your partner, same concept applies here, but it's just generally, the purpose of this is for putting the umpire that's in the best position to see the catch as the calling umpire. Fair foul coverage, as we alluded to, plate umpire has all fair foul responsibility down both lines. Plays within the infield, I believe there's 2 slides here. Yep. So plate umpire is going to come up and read the play here on this. Generally speaking, as the plate umpire, I tend to stay more on the fair foul line. That way I can help here with a pulled foot swipe tag. The reason I would say that the play pick is having the plate umpire shade more is just the fact that we could have a potential fair foul situation right here, which, as we just mentioned, that's the plate umpire's responsibility. U1 is going to get into a position here to read the play into second base, and then they will turn with the throw to first base to roll on safe out at first base. As soon as the throw is made, the plate umpire has all force play slide, illegal slides, interference at second base. Any overthrows or things of that nature would be the responsibility of the plate umpire as well.
Can I say something here about that front end of the force play? the plate umpire, if he goes where this diagram shows, he's not going to be able to see it as well as if he's on the first base side of the mound. Because you can see the slide better from the first base side of the mound. If you don't have fair foul on the third baseline, it's better to be over, like you said, along a little bit more on the running lane area so that you can help out on that too. And I'm saying it's better to be over on that side for the front end of that forced play slide. You can see the runners sliding into second base better on that side than you can on the third base side. So I don't like this diagram. Yeah, like you show there. And I don't think, unless you are, Jesse Owens or somebody like that, you're not going to get as far as that.
Good stuff. Steal a second. This was actually added to the CCA manual this year. And I guess we can talk briefly about steal philosophy as it comes to second base. The plate umpire is going to be responsible basically to make sure we don't have catcher's interference. Or sorry, not catch, batter's interference here. If we do have batter interference, it is a delayed dead ball. If the runner is retired, we just ignore the interference. If the runner is safe, we call the batter out for interference and return the runner to the base at the time of pitch. My general philosophy, as soon as I know that I have a runner going, I like to take about 2 steps back from my pre-pitch position. And with the throw, I will turn and I will just get into a scissor drop step and be on the B side of the field still and be in a pretty good position. Generally, I'm about 15 feet away by this point in time. For those of you that know me, I'm about 6'6", so 2 steps is good distance for me. But I'm about 15 feet away from the bag rule on a safe out. With slides, be very, very slow and deliberate. Make sure we have firm and secure possession of the ball. We have a legal tag. And make sure we know where the ball's at before we rule on safe or out. We don't want oath, which is where we go to punch them out, and halfway through the punch out, we realize, oh crap, the ball's on the ground, and then we save the play.
It's really important on steal plays that as the base umpire, the ball crossing our face turns us to the base. So a lot of times, and I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen this working summer baseball, where my partner gets hit with a throw because they're turned facing second base before the throw is made. Let the ball turn you towards second base. Be in a position where your body's open to second, but turn your head as the ball crosses your field of vision.
Plays within the infield, and we got an overthrow. As we discussed, this isn't really the greatest play pick. Kind of what the 3 of us were talking about. Plate umpire is still going to be responsible for the overthrow on this play. And then the base umpire would be responsible for both the batter, runner, and R1 on this play. The big thing to remember is just plate umpire has the overthrow, and in most situations, with few exceptions, the plate umpire should be the one responsible for an overthrow. And then base umpire should let the ball take them to whichever base there's going to be a play at. And that's kind of what this play pick is showing here.
I want to come into it on a tag play to work on what are you looking at. You said turn your head with the throw, and that's an excellent statement. But now once the ball is being caught, what's the slowest thing that's happening? whoever has the ball in their glove or hand, that's the slowest moving part of anything. So watch that. Don't watch the slider. Don't watch the ball. Watch the glove on the tag. Make sure you see it in there after the tag's applied, and if it was in time or not. And then that's when you make your decision. Don't make your decision and don't follow the ball into the glove. Watch it thrown and then pick up the glove. Don't pick up the slider, because again, that's the slowest thing that's moving.
You forgot about me being in that equation, Larry.
What did I forget?
So I think I'm the slowest thing in the equation.
Well, we all have our idiosyncrasies.
Very fair. So play within the infield, plate umpire stays on the foul line. This is this shows a steal, and this play pick gets just incredibly complicated. I would, my personal opinion of this play where we have a hit and run or a bunt and run, and we have the runner on first trying to advance to third. Plate umpire should be in a position to help with runner's lane interference, pulled foot, swipe tag. I mean, if we look at where the ball is at, the ball is hit in an area where we could potentially have runner's lane interference. And the base umpire would be in a very good position to take a drop step or two and rule on a potential play at third, better than the plate umpire would be able to rule on that play. And that's kind of one of those where angle over distance really does come into play. You know what? We are at 12:51. So Connor, I think if you're okay with that, I think we've really gotten the basics of one runner on and no runners on. Rotations is going to start to get us into a little bit more in-depth, more complicated areas of the two umpire system. And so I think right now would probably be the best time to see if there are any questions from any of the participants as far as philosophy on catch, no catch, or anything of that nature, any footwork questions, things of that nature. So with that, I think we'll open it up. I got a couple minutes here. If you need to go, please do feel free to go. Thank you everybody for taking the time to come and participate and be committed to getting better. That's one of the key things and reasons that Connor and I do this. It helps us because it forces us to get in the rule book, but it also allows us to help you all become better umpires as well. So I'm going to turn it over to the floor. What questions, philosophies, anything like that you guys have regarding kind of what we talked about the two umpire system today? All right. Well, unless there are any other questions, and please do feel free to jump in over me. This is going to be probably a 2 to 3 week series that we're going to do on the two umpire system. There's a lot of moving parts to the two umpire system, and a lot of the things like rotations. That's going to get a little bit more in depth than what we did today. Today was a lot of basic review and not a lot of things have changed in the last 20 years as far as what the two umpire system has done as far as no runners on or a runner on first up to this point. Once you start adding in rotations and things like that, then we're going to start seeing a lot of new stuff and things that has been added, refined, and things of that nature. So next week, 12 o'clock, we will continue this fantastic discussion on the 2-umpire system and 2-umpire mechanics. Connor, you got any last thoughts, comments?
Other than my joke didn't catch on very well. 2-umpire position is difficult. You really have to work. You really have to communicate with your partner and fill in spots that are blind. Know what should be happening and be in position to cover when necessary.
Mike, did you have a question? All right. Larry, any comments, thoughts?
No, other than that last bunt, I was just thinking that we try to tell most plate umpires if it's a bunter that you're never going to, if the ball stays in the infield, don't cover third, because the likelihood somebody from first is going to get to third and there's going to be a play there is less remote than there's going to be a problem over helping out at first base on a pulled foot, swipe tag, batter runner lane interference, overthrow, all that stuff. So we kind of move away from covering third base when the ball stays in the infield here in the metro area in Minnesota, and even with our college guys in 2-man.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that statement. All right, guys. Well, next Wednesday, noon, we will take a deep dive into some 2-umpire rotations and some more rotation philosophy and other fun stuff. So in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to Connor or myself. And you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.